Alright, hi there, and we're back after 2 weeks of talking about some pretty technical stuff. I'm back with Saul and Cotton for some interesting facts today. So, Saul, tell me, what have you got?
Well, today we're going to talk about the trolley problem. You might recognize what it is through its name. It's basically a philosophical problem created around the 60s, and at no time has it gone out of interest.
Well, let's start by talking about what it actually is, yeah? Well, in a nutshell, it's everybody's worst nightmare. Imagine, if you will, a out-of-control trolley speeding down the tracks, and there's no way of stopping it. It's fast and it's furious. But the thing is, if nothing stops it, it will crash full speed into these workers working on the track, ultimately killing them all. 5 people or 15 if it's a full crew. But yes, the problem is these people are going to die unless you do something about it.
And you're at a loss of what to do until you notice that the track has a switch lever on it, and then you could actually switch the track with this lever that you so happen to be standing right next to it. Well, I mean, that's great, right? Isn't it? You're gonna switch it to another track so that you're gonna save the lives of the crew, but it's because it's going to give them a chance to slow down and stop.
Well, not fast, because there's somebody on the other track who pull that switch and save the lives of all the people on the trolley. Then it will kill this other man. That track has a worker on it too, but just one. So it's an ethical dilemma. What do you do? Do you sacrifice one person to save 5 or even 15?
And there's also a second variation, this one even harder to decide. The second variation of the dilemma is that there's no switch. There's just one track and with an out-of-control trolley and several people on it who are going to die unless you do something. So the first part is the same, but this time no switch. However, standing right next to you is a person. Well, probably not a diminutive person. It had to be somebody big enough to stop a trolley. Just imagine Cleveland Brown Jr., X5, yeah, and that would be the idea. So if you push them in front of the trolley and onto the tracks, then you can stop the trolley, but by slowing it down. But obviously, the trolley would run over the guy and kill the guy.
Dead as a doornail?
Yeah, dead as a doornail.
This, my friends, is a trolley problem, a version of an ethical dilemma that philosopher Phillipa Foot devised in 1967. It's one of those situations when it forces us to think about how to choose when there are no good choices. Do we pick the action with the best outcome or stick to a moral code that prohibits causing someone's death? Well, let's look into that for a bit, shall we?
Yeah, that is an excellent question, and it's one that's been plaguing people since it was first produced in the late 60s. This philosophical problem shows the distinction between allowing it to die, which is, pulling that lever and sending the man on that auxiliary track to his death, and actually actively killing somebody, which is pushing the less than diminutive man in front of the trolley.
Say, if it were you, what would you do, Salt? Would you personally pull the lever?
It's one of those situations where you never know what you're really gonna do until you're actually thrust in that situation, and it's easy to say one way or the other, based on whether I've got all the time in the world to make the decision, or if I had to make it on impulse. But just sitting right here, right now, I would say yes, because I would sacrifice just one life to save 15 lives.
Yeah, that's reasonable. How about you, Simpson? This time, not pulling the lever, but actually pushing the man. Would you do that?
That is much tougher, because I would actively be killing somebody to save the lives of someone else.
Well, there's always the option of just standing there horrified and watching it all happen. I'll probably opt for that. Well, but yeah, your answers bear out the research. In one survey, about 90% of respondents said that it's okay to flip the switch, letting one worker die to save 5. Because it just makes sense. You've saved more than you have taken with just our society wave of utilitarianism. But then when it comes to actually pushing the man to save the workers, only 10% of people say it's okay to pull the man onto the tracks. Our instinct tells us that it's deliberately causing someone's death is different than allowing them to die as collateral damage. It just feels wrong for reasons that are hard to explain.
Well, yeah, because if it was an act of saving a group of people and it was a passive thing, it'd be much easier than if it was active. The majority of people answer that they would pull the lever and that they are okay with dispatching someone to their death as long as they don't get their hands dirty by actually killing somebody.
Most people draw the line at pushing the large man in front of the trolley, and I can understand that. This just shows how people don't always take the utilitarian view, even if it's the most logical course of action. But other factors such as gender, men were more likely than women to push the guy onto the tracks. Or personality, say people with a sense of humor would also be more likely to do the same thing. The dilemma, its many variations, reveal that what we think is right and wrong depends on many other factors other than just logical weighing of the pros and cons, or as simple as a sense of utilitarianism.
And while Holmes have ruled this problem as unrealistic and that participants just don't take it seriously from the start because of such reason, because who would even be big enough to stop a train? Because that's ridiculous. Advancements in technology have devised realistic situations based on the dilemma's premise. For example, driverless cars may have to handle choices like causing a small accident to prevent a larger one, which is undoubtedly very important in our study of the human mind, as these problems are nothing but realistic and tangible.
Or maybe just scrap all that and opt for this 2-year kid way of solving it.
Uh-oh, Nicholas. This train is gonna crash into these 5 people. Should we move the train to go this way, or should we let it go that way? Which way should the train go?
This way.
Ah, nice. Right, so that wraps up for this trolley problem. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
See ya.